Let me recount the strangest encounter I've ever come across on a road trip. A few years ago, my fiancé and I were driving down the road in the middle of Iowa. We were going on a road trip to a lot of places where we have family. It was about midnight, and we realized that the next town over was 4 hours away. It had gotten dark, and I was almost falling asleep at the wheel. Suddenly, as if from nowhere, 2 round headlights cut through the fog and slowly pulled behind us. Then there was a piercing siren and a flash of red and blue. A cop had seen us and saw me gently swerving on the road. I pulled over, scared that I would be arrested, or maybe worse. A figure emerged from the glaring lights, blinding the night. I heard a tap on my windshield, and I rolled it down, and we met with a fellow wearing a classic policeman's uniform. Are you gonna ticket me?" I sheepishly asked. He looked at me for a moment and said, "Nah, I ain't gonna ticket you. You look mighty tired to be driving around this late." I looked at him confused. "Yeah," I said. "We're headed to Rolling Hills Town." "Why, that town is 100 miles away. You won't reach that if you tried tonight. You folks look mighty sleepy for you to be on the road. Tell you what, there's a town not too far from here called Berryfield. It ain't much, but I lived there my whole life. There's a nice inn you can stay." My fiancé and I looked at each other and decided to give it a shot. "I'll give you the police escort so you don't lose your way," he said with a smile, and we followed him down a few winding roads to a small town. The main street consisted of a police station, a general store, what looked to be an old haircut salon. There was a hotel and a couple of houses that dotted the way. We pulled into the hotel. The officer got out and approached us again. He said, "Well, it ain't much, but it's a roof over your heads, and I know you're in safe hands. Dan runs the hotel. Tell him I brought you. He'll take care of you." And with that, he drove off. Now, my wife and I went into the hotel, and I found there was nobody there. It was just an empty lobby area. It looked kind of old, and some of the chairs were just a bit dusty. I was so tired I could have fallen asleep on one of those. But we went up, and I found an old bell on the side of the desk. I hit it, and a man popped up. "Well, howdy there. I didn't see ya. My name's Dan. I run this place. It's so nice to see folks around here again. You've been my first customers in a while. And now, let me ask you, how'd you get here? And what you doing out this late?" My fiancé and I tiredly looked at each other, and we softly explained about the cop and how we were trying to get to Rolling Hills Town. "My, that's so mighty far away." "I reckon you better stay here then. And you met that sheriff, didn't you?" "Well, he always keeps us good and dry. Tell you what, I'll let you rent one of them finest rooms that I got. I'll do it for, how's about $10. Now, $10 for a room, that sounds mighty cheap," I said to him, kind of mocking his accent. "Well, you see, we don't really get many folks around here. And the ones that we do get, we like to, well, give them something special, I say." And with that, he turned around and got the keys off the hook. And he led us over around. "Now, would you like me to give you the grand tour of the place? It's got a lot of history, if you're into that sort of thing." My fiancé and I just kind of looked at each other, and we said to him, "Maybe tomorrow. Just show us the room, please." "All right, one room coming right up." And with that, he led us down the hall and right to our room. Room 115. Now, I hope you don't mind the mess. We haven't had a lot of prep time to see that you were coming. When we walked in the room and he turned on the light, it was pristine, albeit antiquated. There was a radio over on the dresser where the TV probably should have been. And there was 2 beds, side by side with a nightstand in between. "Now, we got a special breakfast that we have planned each morning," Dan said. "Would love if you would come to it. You want me to give you a wake-up call?" "No, thank you," I said, putting down my bag. I think that'll be all for now. Well, just holler if you need anything. Dial on the radios right there. We have some mighty fine stations around here, though that one music one ain't too good. You kinda have to tune it a bit. But other than that, we got ourselves a pretty nice room for you. We thanked him and let ourselves drift off to sleep. Morning rolled around and I woke up next to my fiancée in one of the beds. I guess that rule went out the window. We went out and found a lobby with a nice assortment of breakfast goods. Pancakes, waffles, and even a couple of sweets. We filled our plates and went on about our day. We walked up to the register where Dan was and had a little chat with him. So this town's called Berryfield, I asked him. Yes sir, that's us, Berryfield. Been here ever since I can remember. It's a nice little town, though it ain't much. At least not anymore. A lot of the people moved away. But we still make our fair share. I asked him about some of the features of the town. Well, this of course is the hotel. You got the general store down there. Mikhail owns it. Then we got the police station where, of course, you met the sheriff. Then down a little ways down the road there is the barber shop. That's where old Mike still cuts hair. And he's also the town tailor too, so if you need anything mended, he's the guy to go to. And a little ways from here is Grenshaw's farm. Biggest farm this side of the Mississippi, I reckon. So many good memories here. I asked him about Grenshaw's farm. What does he grow there? Oh, he grows corn, beans, anything really. Grenshaw and I used to be best pals when we were small. He used to walk the beans and shuck the corn. Oh, that was the life. Until of course his parents got sick and, well, he had to take over the farm. My daddy used to run this hotel and, well, when he passed, I took it over. Been working here ever since. You sound like there's not a lot of people that roll through here. Well, yeah, lots of people just don't stop by no more. I've been barely able to keep this place in business, but there's some rays of hope when people like you come around. Want to make sure that we put our best foot forward. Getting you guys all set up, so maybe you tell your friends about us. Will do, I said. So where are you off to, then? He said. I think that we'll head down to the general store. See what they got there. Well, I'll be here if you need me, Dan said, and went back to spruce up a room. My wife and I walked out and saw a couple blocks away the police car sitting on the street, empty, right in front of the sheriff's office. While walking past the general store, we saw a couple houses that were boarded up. Wonder what happened here. When we walked in the general store, there was an older man that was at the counter. "Do my eyes deceive me?" he said with a surprised expression. "Or is that a customer? Why, I haven't seen one of you around in months. My name's Joe. I run this here old sad shack." My fiancée and I laughed. "So, Joe, what's the word around town?" "Well, it hasn't really been much. Not many people come around here. Of course, the Grenshaw boys used to raise hell in this place. Always running around, riding their bikes all. Kept on knocking my displays over. I would always have to redo them. That is, until they up and left. Sometimes I do miss them. Well, anyways, what can I do you for? What you looking for? Anything in particular?" We just kind of wanted some snacks and supplies, I suppose." Well, you come to the right place. I've got a sweet shop. Right there. Oh, how's about this? Haven't had a chance to make this in years, but nobody can resist it. You see, I got a trusty soda fountain. People always told me I made the best soda floats. How's about I make you one right now, eh? Why, sure. I'll take one. Well, ain't that wonderful? Seeing a brand new couple around these parts? Well, one for the sir and the lady coming right up. And with that, he went back to an old soda fountain and started making some sodas for us. So word around town is there's not too many people left around here, I said to him. Well, yeah. People started moving from here a little while ago. Don't really know why, but I kind of stayed. Figured that it'd be nice to just live out my days here. He said, his old hands still making the ice cream. So what's the history of this town? I asked. Well, it was started around the mid-1800s and kinda became a little forest in town. Lots of trees around here, I'm sure you noticed. But then people started not liking the wood that we gave them. And then, well, let's just say things just got quiet. So how long has it been since you've seen a customer around here? I asked him. Well, he said he's brought us over our drinks. Last one I saw was in January, I suppose. Younger couple had a little kid with them. Boy, it was nice to see a youngster running around these old holes again. This time he didn't knock down any of my displays. Boy, was that a nice little family. Of course, they were just passing through, and I reckon you are too. So what can you tell me about the sheriff here? Well, he's been sheriff for as long as I can remember. We didn't really have a deputy or anything like that, but he comes in here every so often to buy some supplies, a little ammunition or anti-rust stuff. Don't really know if that works. Sometimes he has the mechanic fix up his car. That's about it for him. What about the hotel owner? Oh, the hotel owner, he's a swell guy. His name's Dan. He and the Grenshaw have been friends since ever since the beginning, back when they was in diapers. Of course, old Grenshaw is gone away now. Had to tend to his farm and whatnot. Now, can I get you folks anything else? No thank you, I said. There was nothing really in the store, and the sodas were really good. Why, thank you. It's been a long time since I've made one of them, so kind of figured I'd get a little rusty at it, but turns out I've still got it. I looked at him a second. He had a familiar air to him. Are you perchance related to the cop? The sheriff, I mean? Why, no, I ain't. Though I do say that we do look alike sometimes when when I was young and dashing. Ain't much now except for just an old man trying to keep in business. Well, thank you for all of that. Well, you're welcome. Where are you going now, if I may ask? Well, I kind of ripped some pants on my trip a little bit. My fiance snickered and, oh, well, you should go see the tailor. Swell guy he is. He'll fix anything. He's, of course, on Main Street, just a couple blocks away. Shouldn't be too much trouble to find him. Also, if you're looking for a haircut, he's your guy. Did my hair a couple days ago. And don't I look fine? Yeah, you do. I laughed. And with that, we departed. And went over to see the barber / tailor. Well, hello there, folks, the tailor said heartily. Hi. How are you this fine day? Well, I'm swell. First time anyone's walked in that door in ages, it seems. What can I do for you? Well, I have this pair of pants that I kind of ripped. Oh, I'll take them and fix those right up for you. He went to fetch a small sewing kit and brought it back. I've put the pants on the table and he began his magic. So, you folks new in town? I hear there's a lot of real estate around these parts. No, we're not looking to buy just yet. Just passing through. Oh. He sounded sad. Well, Maybe you'll bring a few more visitors here there. Okay, now this was getting a bit odd. This guy had the same air to him as the hotel manager and the general store owner. Say, are you any chance related to the general store manager? Oh, him? Nah. People just say we look alike. I don't believe him, of course. Well, that explains nothing. What about you and the hotel manager? Oh, Dan? No. Not by a long shot. Now, what do you know about the Grenshaw children? Oh, they used to raise hell over in the general store, always knocking stuff over and playing too rough with each other. It's a shame they've gone. Could have used a bit more young blood in my shop. Swooping up the hair and all that. I'm getting kind of old for that. Well, but here you go. That'll be $2, please. $2. All these prices were so low around here. Well, that about does it for me, I suppose. Anything else you needed? Nah, we're alright, I said. Oh, where are you headed to now? I think we're gonna head over to the sheriff's office. Well, alright. Have a good one, and tell the sheriff I said hi. We walked over to the sheriff's office and found him sitting behind a desk, still wearing that classic policeman's uniform. Well, howdy, newcomers, he said with us, with a smile. How y'all doing today? Did old Dan at the hotel treat you right? Yeah, we're fine. Had a good sleep. Yep, those beds can be comfy. I noticed that in this police station there was rudimentary jails sitting there. So, do you lock many people up? Well, no. The general store manager just fell over. Had to go get him up. That was about the last emergency I can remember. Well, isn't that so? Yep. This town's pretty quiet. Of course I do patrols and all that, but sometimes I just don't bother. Sometimes I go a little bit farther out of my way and I find stragglers, trying to get to Rolling Hills Town. Of course, that's way too far. Yeah, I said. Now that I saw him in the light, he did look kind of like the hotel manager, and the general store owner, and the barber. Well, if you folks are heading out, I could always give you directions to the nearest road. Oh, sure, I said. Let's, can you drop me a map? Well, I got one right here. And he held out a map. It was old and tattered. It's one of the last ones we got. They usually have a bunch of them for tourists and stuff, but lately there hasn't been much influx of people. Where are you heading off to now? He said as we walked towards the door. We're going to the general store again. I think that I found something that I might want a little souvenir for myself. Well, alright then, have a good day, he said as he went back to his newspaper. As we walked out, I told my wife, hey, I think we forgot something at the hotel. Let's go there instead. She followed me and we went back to the hotel, and there was no one. Not even Dan, the hotel manager. We kind of explored the rooms a little bit, and most of them were extremely dusty, as if no one had been here for years. The main hall was grand and gorgeous. It seemed much more grand than it was last night when we first walked through it. I think that there's something wrong with this place, I told my fiancé. These people just don't seem right, and the houses all around here are all boarded up. I think we should get out of here. So we packed up our stuff, and as we were going out, the hotel manager caught us. Oh, well, howdy, folks. Leaving so soon? I reckon you might want to stay another night. Maybe try out a different room or go to the main ballroom or something. We graciously declined his offer and went on our way. It had gotten foggy out, and frankly, kind of eerie. We ran to our car, and we started to drive. And as we passed each of the stores, as we passed the general store, the old store owner in the rocking chair rocked and rocked, watching us as we slowly drove by. And then we passed the barber shop, the old barber sweeping some dirt out of his shop, staring at us as we rolled by. At the hotel, Dan, too, was standing at the window, looking like he was polishing something, but his eyes kept darting to us as we drove away. And finally we passed the police station, where the sheriff was standing outside, wearing glasses, but I felt his icy stare as we drove along. We looked at the old map and we noticed something surprising. This map hadn't been updated at all since 1954. I had been used to small towns before, but nothing ever like that. Now, after we had our trip, we decided to go back the same way to see if we can find that town again. And this time, when we did, the town was in ruins. Massive amounts of overgrowth had taken over the general store and the haircut place. The hotel's roof had caved in on itself, and weeds were growing through the roof tiles. The sheriff's car was rusted out. The tires were melded in with the road. No one had been here for years. Some of the houses had burned down. The road, instead of being nice and smooth, was cracked with weeds growing out, plant life sprawling, as if nature itself was trying to reclaim the land that it had been taken from them. I got out and looked around. I opened up the door to the hotel. It surprisingly barely was on its hinges. I slowly stepped inside to the creaking floorboards. And on the desk was the key to room 115.